We'll hear argument next this morning in Case 13-9972, Rodriguez versus the United States. Mr. O'Connor.
Mr. Chief Justice, and may it please the Court, the big issue that starts in this case is whether, after completing the tasks related to a traffic stop, whether an officer without individualized suspicion can hold the driver for a dog sniff. Specific question in this case is whether Officer Struble was entitled to piggyback an already completed traffic offense with probable cause onto that traffic offense for an investigation of Mr. Rodriguez involving nothing more than a hunch. That is the question of the case.
But that remains, that wasn't reached by the Court of Appeals. The district court, as you pointed out, rejected the argument that there was probable cause, saying it's nothing more than a hunch. But that was not reviewed by the Court of Appeals, so that could still be open.
The decision of the Court of Appeals, Your Honor, absolutely. That was a de minimis ruling. They did not reach the question as to whether there was reasonable suspicion and left it just based on their ruling of whether, in fact, this was a de minimis action.
Counsel, do you concede that this would be all right if the dog sniff took during the traffic stop? In other words, let's say there were two policemen there already. One says, I'm going to go write you a ticket, and while that's taking place, the other policeman walks around with the dog. No problem with that?
There'd be no problem, Mr. Chief Justice, if in fact all of that was done before the traffic ticket was written. If in fact the dog was taken around the car prior to the completion of the traffic stop and the ticket, then of course it would be.
Mr. O'Connor, it's frequent that a policeman, when he stops somebody for a broken taillight or whatever, will conduct some other inquiries. Where are you going? Ask a lot of questions. He will check whether the person is driving a stolen car, whether the person is properly licensed. All of that has nothing to do with a broken taillight, and yet that's permitted, right?
Yes.
Would it be permitted if he did it after he wrote the ticket?
At that point in time, no. He would
Is
not.
that right? He can only do that before he writes the ticket.
If assuming that.
What if he's not giving a ticket? He's just going to give him a warning. And he says to them, you shouldn't have done that, and you went a little bit over the line. Be careful next time. By the way, let me see your driver's license. That would be bad.
Yes, Your Honor, that would be. It would be because that would be part of the stop. So all of those questions would be, once the stop is finished, then he should be allowed to go no matter what the question was.
Is it your argument that as soon as all of the steps that must be taken in connection with the traffic stop are completed, then the stop must end? Or is it that nothing more can be done after the ticket is issued? In other words, is it the length of time, or is it the formal act of giving the ticket or the warning that cuts things off?
It is the formal act. Once the act of the traffic stop is done, which would be the reason, which would be the purpose for the stop, once that is done, that is the.
Yeah, but that is done is not clear. Two questions. In Justice Scalia's hypothetical, the officer said, I'm not going to give you a ticket, but I just want to ask you a few questions. It seems to me that under your argument, those questions are impermissible because he's made his decision. He's not going to give a ticket. And on the other hand, as Justice Alito indicates, suppose that he said, now, I finished your ticket, But before I give it to you, I'm going to go back to the police car and check to see if there are warrants. Is that all right?
If it is the end of the traffic stop, it is not.
But first of all,
Well, but that's what he was
these are
asking.
hypotheticals that
Is it the end of the traffic stop?
have a wrong presumption, okay? There are certain tasks involved in giving a traffic ticket, correct?
Yes, Your Honor, yes.
And those include checking for warrants, checking for tickets on the car,